Sorry? Barium chloride? No. Barium chloride is soluble, absolutely soluble. Sorry? No, barium peroxide reacts with HCl. Sorry? Barium chloride is soluble and he says he'll get contaminated water. You wanted H2O2. Yes, please. Sorry? HCl is a polar covalent compound. Again, it doesn't hurt my requirement. Believe me, I'm always curious to know those things which run into your mind, make you smile. Come on, you could just come up with what you're thinking about HCl. You never know, you might be wrong. Because it's soluble. So barium chloride soluble is a problem with you. Could that be a problem? Sorry? But sulfuric acid is also strong and well. Barium chloride is soluble. Do all of you agree to this? Barium sulfate is a precipitate. Barium chloride is soluble. Now don't you think, you're almost there. Barium chloride is soluble. Look here. If you use HCl, you get barium chloride which is soluble. Now the problem is, if it's soluble, you'll have to follow it up with separating H2O2 and barium chloride. अरे बाबा, जिसको प्रिजर्व करना मुश्किल है उसको सेपरेट करने जाओगे तो वो पूरा डिसोसिएट हो जाएगा. If you use HCl, barium chloride will be soluble, and then you'll have to separate H2O2 and barium chloride. Believe me, if you go about separating or purifying H2O2, you'll be losing all of it. At least out here, the task is cut short. You add sulfuric acid, you react with sulfuric acid, barium sulfate is a precipitate, you just filter out and you hope you have H2O2 formed. Barium sulfate being a precipitate, you'll just need to filter it out. And the aqueous solution will be containing H2O2. Yes or no? If you take HCl, barium chloride being soluble in water, there will be a huge task of separating barium chloride and H2O2. H2O2, which in the very first place is so difficult to preserve, you will not want to carry out something like purification of H2O2. You will be losing all of it. I hope you are getting me. So barium sulfate as a precipitate is kind of a necessary evil which you have to perform, because you'll be filtering it out and you'll be left with a solution of H2O2. Got me? Who will want to answer this? The last one. Barium peroxide is added to acid and the reverse is not done. Maybe you are saying something. You always find barium peroxide added to acid. Acid is
sudden rise of temperature.
Sorry?
Sudden rise of temperature.
On adding acid? No? Volume will be more. Volume will be more. What do you make out from this? Yes? Exothermic process? Yes, trying to say something? Barium peroxide is added to the acid and the acid is never added to barium peroxide. See if you can answer that.
So barium peroxide contains water crystallization, and if acid is added to water, it would splash and may harm.
Actually, you always prefer adding acid to water, Instead of adding water to acid, you always add acid to water. That's a better way of diluting it, believe me. To avoid splashing or getting hurt that way. Yes, please, anyone out there? I told you all of this will be answered by the facts I told you about H2O2 and how it's accelerated or retarded. Now you feel a reason to look back at it.
So they may be unused acid in that you which may have oxidized H2O2.
Not really. How?
The presence of acid retards the process.
Exactly, and this is how, this is where I always tell you, you're going to teach yourself. Chances are things which you're expecting to come out of me, it's always a couple of thoughts away. You make the effort and there is nothing beyond your reach. When you add barium peroxide to acid, don't you think barium peroxide is the limiting reagent? When you gradually add barium peroxide to acid, you have more of acid and barium peroxide is right away getting reacted. So H2O2 is formed in acidic medium. When you add barium peroxide to acid, at any instant of time, you have an excess of acid and barium peroxide will be the limiting reagent, yes or no? So it's like producing H2O2 in acidic condition. And presence of acid is good for the health of H2O2. Acidic medium is good for the health of H2O2. Presence of acid will retard dissociation of H2O2, and when you add barium peroxide to acid, now when you add acid to barium peroxide, acid will be the limiting reagent. You do not have the acidic medium to kind of protect it. But when you add barium peroxide to acid, every time barium peroxide will be getting over, you will be left with excess of acid, and acid around is good for the health of H2O2. Alright, I warned you before, you will not want to exactly copy my language. Maybe the school teachers are not going to buy it. Yes?
Will there be any change in temperature?
Not really. Not really. Moving on. Well, I felt it necessary to brief you about so many things about H2O2 preparation before I lead you to volume strength. Now believe me, out of a few compounds for which volume strength will be used, H2O2 chelate will be most often. A compound which despite everything will dissociate completely. Maybe I'll want to give you the balanced equation this time. A compound which will completely dissociate producing water and oxygen, and we realize that for a compound of this kind which will certainly dissociate completely giving water and oxygen, a new unit could be framed, that's volume strength. Maybe I'll want to give you a definition before we proceed. Volume strength will be defined as the volume of oxygen at NTP. Volume strength of a solution will be defined as volume of oxygen at NTP, volume of oxygen at NTP available, volume of oxygen at NTP available, volume of oxygen at NTP available per unit volume of H2O2 solution, volume of oxygen available per unit volume of H2O2 solution. Now, when I say H2O2 solution, I am referring to an aqueous solution. I don't want any doubts over it. When I am talking of H2O2 solution, I am talking of an aqueous solution. Aqueous solution होगा H2O2 का, है ना? And then the components of the solution would be H2O2 and water, out of which H2O will not produce oxygen. Hey, to get oxygen from water, you need to have a setup of a different kind. You need to have a voltameter, insert 2 electrodes, then you will be able to extract oxygen from water. So any day, from an aqueous solution of H2O2, from a solution of H2O2, which by default is an aqueous solution, oxygen will be available only from H2O2. Oxygen will be available only from H2O2. Yes or no? Now, if the solution is rich in H2O2, if the solution is containing more H2O2. If the solution is rich in H2O2, then that solution will be able to produce more oxygen per unit volume. Now certainly volume strength, as I defined it for you, will be the volume of oxygen available at NTP. Now oxygen available at NTP will mean oxygen in gaseous form. Volume of oxygen available at NTP will mean oxygen available in gaseous form per unit volume of H2 solution, which will be in liquid form. So that's how you're going to define volume strength, and maybe quickly giving you an illustration would help. You have an aqueous solution of H2O2, you have an aqueous solution of H2O2, and if you're calling it say 10 volume H2O2, if you're calling it 10 volume H2O2, what do you mean is per unit volume of this solution, per unit volume of this solution, 10 units volume of oxygen is available, which means 1 ml of a 10 volume H2O2 is capable of producing 10 ml of oxygen at NTP. And it's a relative unit, it's a relative unit. So 2 liters of this H2O2 solution which is stacked 10 volume, 2 liters of this H2O2 solution which is stacked this for 10 volume. Now this is 2 liters in solution form, liquid form, is capable of producing 20 liters of oxygen at NTP gaseous. Got me? If it's 10 volume H2O2, this means per unit volume 10 units volume of oxygen is available. So 1 ml can give you 10 ml of oxygen, 2 liters can give you 20 liters of oxygen at NTP. I hope you're following me. ठीक है? So what's the equivalent weight of H2O2? What's the equivalent weight of H2O2? We didn't talk about the equivalent weight of H2O2. 17. Did we talk about the equivalent weight of H2O2 in the past? Did we talk about the equivalent weight of H2O2? Then how do you get 17?
That peroxide bond included that oxygen attracts electron and we give that plus 2 and plus that actually calculate the oxidation number.
I'm talking of equivalent weight right now. Did I tell you about the equivalent weight of H2O2? Yes, I find it written in his notebook. So though it's pretty disappointing, but you'll just want to turn some pages and realize that before hydrogen displacement method, I had tried to reduce equivalent weight of H2O2 and KMnO4, and I was telling you I'm going to do it very fundamentally. Without using oxidation number, without using exchange of electrons, we did it for H2O2 and KMnO4. Now I want to look here and respond. So have I spoken about the equivalent weight of H2O2? And you have a physical evidence in the notebook now. No reason why you'll get back home and read all of it and come prepared henceforth. So equivalent weight of H2O2 was 17. Molecular weight is 34 grams. Gram molecular weight is 34. Equivalent weight is 17. Yes or no? And you've got some idea about the volume strength. You've got some idea about the volume strength. Volume strength will mean number of volumes of oxygen available per unit volume of H2O2 solution. See, the point is This is something you're coming across for the first time, and it's not like conventional normality, molarity. So because the first experience with something like volume strength, it's going to take some time before you start completely buying it. But at least you have been following throughout. You understand, if I mean 10 volume H2O2 per unit volume will be given 10 times the volume of oxygen. This is what it means. Okay? Now with problems in H2O2, you'll find volume strength given more often than normality or molarity. You'll find in problems involving H2O2, they'll give you the strength in terms of volume strength. All right. And as a student, although you keep on wondering, student's mind is, why on earth do I need a different volume strength, which is more confusing than the previous simple units which were molarity or normality. But believe me, we'll see the application front of that. We'll see the application part of volume strength. You'll see later on H2O2, even sold in market would come up, would be tagged as itna volume H2O2. So H2O2 ke liye the conventional unit of measurement is going to be volume strength. All right. And then what we'll want to do is, we'll want to relate volume strength with normality. We'll want to find the relationship between volume strength and normality of H2O2. I've told you something about volume strength. I told you about the equivalent weight of H2O2. You understand one normal H2O2 will be like 1 equivalent per liter, will be like 17 grams per liter. Yes or no? And then I leave you with this equation, and I leave you with some time to kind of look into everything which we have gone past in the last 1 hour or so, and see if you could find a relationship between volume strength and normality. See if you can find the relationship between volume strength and normality. I leave you with a couple of hints. One normal H2O2 will be 17 grams per liter. Normality is number of equivalents per liter. 2, I've briefed you about volume strength. See if you can come up with the relationship between normality and volume strength in H2O2.